At ease, brothers. Man, I wanted to make this video a few days ago. I wanted to make this video on Easter Sunday, right? But I understand that if I would have made this video then, man, it probably would have offended more people than it will inform. And I'm not all about stepping on religious toes. I'm not sitting there, telling people to go against what the preacher said or telling people to believe what soul believes. But I'm telling you this, man. For several years of your life now, man, the majority of you have been sacrificing the wrong version of yourself. A lot of you have been sacrificing the wrong versions of yourself, man. Like this past weekend, man, this holiday that many people celebrate, you have to understand that this is the purge. You have to understand, like, for example, if some of y'all are old enough to remember or even heard the stories of the story about Jim Jones or Jonestown, when he made everybody drink the Kool-Aid and we saw pictures of all these people laying across the land that had deleted themselves, right? You have to understand that the holiday that we just celebrated, man, is that on steroids times 100. You have to understand, man, that people don't really understand that they're literally not only deleting themselves, but separating themselves from the entity that they call God. People have no idea that they're doing that, right? First, let me say this, man, because you gotta understand, man. You gotta understand that it's really about, the whole agenda is really about separating man from source. That's the whole agenda. That's always been the whole agenda. It's separating man from source. For example, man, and I'll break this down just to a daily level. You have to understand that when we wake up every day, man, and we're seeking new things, seeking healthy relationships, seeking new jobs, new ways to expand our income, new opportunities, new cars, see vacation places. You have to understand that on the bottom, at the root cause of all that, what we're really looking for is source energy within that. Like, that's what life is. The constant search and for source energy. So when we partake in these things that make us happy or give us this fulfillment, we're really just seeking source. It's kind of like a man that goes and catches oysters. Yeah, you can do something with the shell. Yeah, you can consume the meat, but the pearl is really what you want, right? You have to understand this. If a person, if an entity, if a body can keep you away from ever finding that pearl, it causes that entity or that body of people to be able to fully control a society, right? So you have to understand, man, that the whole agenda has been to separate man from finding that pearl or from connecting to that source. And you have to understand that when you're celebrating something that's sacrificing your Jesus, like, if you just pause for a minute and think about what's taking place, brothers, you can see the danger in it. You can see the chaos that results from it, man. Like I say, I've been saying this forever, man. I say the main thing that a man must ask himself every single morning, if a man is going to wake up on God's green earth, he should ask himself, who am I? Who am I? What that means is, like, let me understand my makeup. So when I say who am I, it's what I've been talking about since day one, brothers. It's the same thing. When I say a man must understand who he is, it's simply a man understanding that he's more complex than he thought he was. He's more, it's not just us as human flesh roaming this planet. Like, there's a whole second half of us that's unseen. That spiritual side of ourselves, that true side of ourselves, right? And that's, I know y'all gonna get offended when I say this. That's the Jesus we've been studying. When you read about Jesus in the Bible, regardless if you think Jesus lived 2024 years ago, regardless if you think all these things take place, to be honest, it's irrelevant. You have to understand that these messages are really stories about the higher side of yourself. They're about the higher side of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And once you understand that, man, things start coming together. So when I say a man must know who he is, a man must understand that he's not only is he ego, not only is he the version of man that's watching this video, but he's also that Christ side. It's split down the middle. It's also that Christ side. So where the danger starts, man, is when people at a young age start teaching us that version of ourselves is not us, and that version lived a long time ago and died on the cross and da. Do you understand how that destroys a man's connection to source? So in other words, what I'm saying is this. When I say to understand who you are, okay, ego side, Christ side. This Christ side is your God self. I'll say it like that, your God self. So what do you think is taking place when a society, a religion, a body, whatever you want to call it, is telling you to sacrifice that self? Kill that self. Put this portion of you on the cross and put it in a tomb. That means you don't really understand what this part of yourself is. That is your immortal self. So if somebody is convincing you to sacrifice the part of you that cannot die, think about how damaging that is, man. Think about that peace, that pearl that everybody is searching for. Think about what happens when they take your ability to form that connection to find that true source. Think about what's taking place internally when they remove that pearl. They say the pearl no longer exists because you've destroyed the connection. You have to understand, man. You have to understand this. You have to understand that when we're supposed to be sacrificing someone, it's sacrificing our old self. That's the time when a man should look at himself and say, you know what? Okay, what are my shortcomings? Looking at his ego side, not his Christ side. What are my shortcomings? How can I be a better father? How can I be a better husband or wife? How can I expand my territory and make more money? How can I bless more people? How can I help those that are in need? How can I get more healthier? And observe that self. And then sacrifice that self. Get rid of that old version of yourself and then resurrect the new version of yourself. You got to understand, everything we're talking about is not only finding fulfillment, but it's the creation process. It's the creation process. How can you resurrect something that cannot die? That's why I say a man must know himself. A man must know who he is. Because if you know who you are, you understand that this part of you that they're telling you to crucify has always existed and can never die. That's the truest version of you. So what they're doing, so what it's been doing when someone tells you to sacrifice your Christ, they're literally putting you in a prison cell, having you stuck in this third dimension. They're literally separating you from God. They're literally separating you from God. My question is, who are you even praying to? And I use that word pray loosely. Y'all understand when I say pray? Prayer means something completely different for y'all that have read a singular truth. But affirm. I'll say the word pray. Who are you praying to? Who are you affirming to? If even your Bible says, hey, the only way to get to God is through me. Meaning the only way you can connect with source, the only way you can find God in this ego mind is to go through your spiritual mind. And when two come together, God is there also. If you're saying that this part of yourself that can never die, this part of yourself that is immortal, is on the cross and dying, is in a tomb and doing all this stuff, and you aren't forming that connection, who are you even talking to? It's a crazy thing, man. It's a crazy thing, man. And year after year, I see people going through these rituals. I'm like, man, people have no idea that this is the purge. This is the purge. You separate man from his Christ self. You have a man stuck in limbo for life. For life, man. So what it does, man, is when going back to that that pearl that everybody is looking for, living life, man, and getting the pearls of life and getting the fulfillment through experiencing God in the physical world. You have to understand when a person can't cut that off and it's on overdrive, you have to understand that what's really taking place is that there's a separation. There's a void. There's no connection. Because once you have that connection, you're plugged into that kingdom nonstop. So everything else is icing on the cake. The new whip, the new crib, the good relationship, the vacation, these are icing on the cake because what you're experiencing, you're actually feasting off of that full time. You're feasting off of it full time. So everything else is extra. But when people tell you to separate yourself from or when people tell you to kill your Christ, and they're putting you in a machine that's having you seeking something that's already inside of you if you understand it. That's why I say a man must know who he is, man. If you don't know nothing else, that's why the Bible says, seek ye first that place. Like, seek ye first that kingdom. Like, everything else is going to come, but if you don't seek that faith, if you don't form that connection first, if you don't know who you are and bring that source into existence first, man, everything else is going to be a rat race to you, brothers. So all I'm saying is this, man. You're sacrificing the wrong version. You're sacrificing the wrong version. If you're going to put any version of yourself on the cross, so to speak, man, put that ego side up there so you can rebuild. So there's no sense of sacrificing your higher self. That's what's connected directly to source. That's the only thing that you have that's connected to perfection. And if you really, man, I ain't gonna lie, because see, everything is about perspective, man. Once you understand this, man, you can go back and read the gospel, the New Testament all over again. And you can see what I'm saying is in there. Through the 3,400 translations the Bible has gone through, for what reason I have no idea, you can still see the truth in there. It's all about perspective. If you understand this and you read it again, man, even Pontius was like, this man is done, like, I'm washing my hands of this. Like, this is on y'all. If y'all want to kill this version, it's on y'all. Even when the messenger was speaking in the Bible, man, and I'm not sure what this is, what the messenger said, like I'm confused. Like, y'all say that y'all are followers of Abraham, but you seek to kill me. In other words, something is wrong. Like somebody is missing something. Like, y'all say that y'all are people of understanding, but you seek to kill me. Like, where did y'all miss the bus? So all I'm saying, brothers, man, is you're sacrificing the wrong version of yourself.